I think I've officially reached a point in time where I'm just like, whatever, man. Like, you want to go this route? Go this route. Because I have no fucking clue what's going on with this Madam Web movie. So, apparently, the Madam Web movie is going to involve time travel, or multiversal travel, or both. And what I mean by that is basically some plot details for the movie came leaking out. And from what they've been able to gather, it seems as though there will be two different versions of Madam Web. There's going to be the Madam Web played by Dakota Johnson, and then there's going to be the Julia Carpenter played by Sydney Sweeney. And they're going to be putting together like a spider team. And the job of this spider team is to go back into the past and protect Mary Parker as she gives birth to Peter Parker from a villain from the future, I'm assuming, that wishes to kill Mary before Peter is born, and as a result, never have a Spider-Man and destroy the Web of Fate and the Web of Destiny. And there's an extra caveat thrown in there. Mary Parker will be protected by a future version of Uncle Ben. Who wrote this? Like, who wrote it? Who over at Sony was like, this is a good idea? Because don't get me wrong, there are some Web of Fate and Destiny multiversal time travel shenanigans that are going to be happening. Here's the thing. Which Peter Parker? Because Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker has already said that he's like not coming back. Like coming back for I almost called it Across the Spider-Verse. No Way Home was like super fun, and he's flirted with the idea of maybe a Spider-Man 4, but for the most part, he likes how this has bookended his Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield is on seance at the moment. He's not planning to come back to be Peter Parker in any way, shape, or form. He didn't like when he was Peter Parker. Like, he was really enthusiastic for the job, but when he got the job, he didn't like the way in which Sony handled things and the way in which his Peter Parker was essentially just tossed in the trash without a definitive end. He came back for No Way Home because No Way Home allowed him to more or less redeem the character that Sony never allowed him to redeem. Tom Holland's Spider-Man only does shit for Marvel. Like, he's already said, I'm not interested in doing solo movies for Sony. My Spider-Man stuff is all handled by Marvel and Kevin Feige, which means he doesn't have any stake in this in any way, shape, or form. And there are a lot of people that are like, or at least one of the suggestions online, which is, it's literally in the story because they're taking sets from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie and they're using them in this movie that they're currently shooting, was like, oh, it's taking place in the Sam Raimi Tobey Maguire movie. Here's the issue. If they're traveling back in time to the year 2000, Peter Parker was like, he was like in high school. Like, so they're not traveling back in time to kill that Peter Parker. If you're traveling back in time to maybe kill I said his name like 3 seconds ago and I automatically lost it. It's not Tom Holland. He's the middle Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man himself. Whatever, you know his name. Andrew Garfield. His Peter Parker was like 2, maybe 3, 4, 5 in the year 2000. It makes sense that you're probably going back in time to maybe kill Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because his Spider-Man was already on the young side, at least between the ages of 16 and 18 by the time we're introduced to him in Civil War. But like I said, Tom Holland's already said that he has no interest in doing solo shit for Sony. Like, all his stuff is handled under the Marvel cloud. So is this a new Spider-Man? And then there's like the entire idea that Madam Web is pulling together like a Suicide Squad of, I wouldn't even really call them like my least favorite Spider people, but they're the safe bets. It's like Sony sat down and was like, okay, which members of the Spider-Man family can we pull from that if we fuck up, we can just throw them away and never use them again? And it's like, yes, let's use Anya and Maddie. And it's like, well, that's kind of shitty that you're using both of them as like the throwaway characters in this situation. And then why do we have two different versions of Madam Webb? You've got Cassandra Webb, and then you have Julian Carpenter, who both kind of fill the role of Madam Webb, depending on if you were in 616 or if you were in whatever the hell the Ultimates like designation was. At one point in time, it was like 6160, then it was like 1616. So I don't remember what the Ultimates universe designation is in any way, shape, or form. But what is this movie? And then also, what is this movie attempting to connect to? Because the Venomverse is like over there doing its own thing. And then you have the Across the Spider-Verse series that is essentially like its own insular thing that's also doing its own thing. But then you have the Kraven the Hunter movie over here, which they say is in the Venom universe, but then it's also kind of not in the Venom universe because those characters may never cross over with one another. And it's like, what's happening here? What is the plan? Because I don't think there is a plan. I think that Sony's just trying to capitalize on the Spider-Man character in any way, shape, and form that doesn't fuck up their deal with Marvel. Because they've tried doing their own Spider-Man movies. They failed. Marvel's been doing the Spider-Man movies fantastically, and they've been low-key making money off of it while Marvel foots the bill. And it's like, they're like, okay, can we shear a little bit more off this sheep? Can we get a little bit more fat off this cow? And it's like, you don't have to. The deal in which you have with Marvel is super solid. They foot the bill, you guys reap the rewards. That's good. Like, I don't know. I don't understand what this movie is. I don't understand what this movie is for. I don't understand what the fuck this movie is about. I don't even think Sony understands. I don't even think Sony understands what the fuck this movie is about. But we'll see. Like, I'll keep an eye out. But wow, that. Oh boy, that is not looking good at all. Because if you're telling me that there's like a future version of Uncle Ben who's gonna like come into the past, protect like Mary Parker, it's like, okay, sure, Spider-Man, the Web of Destiny, killing Peter Parker unravels the Web of Destiny. I understand, but what is the point? Like, what are we building towards? If you're not building towards anything, then why would people waste their time to go and see this film? Oh boy, it's like I'm ready to write off Sony the same way I'm about 2 seconds away from writing off WB. But like I said, I'll keep an eye out if anything else happens. Like, the premise sounds good. It's just the execution that I'm afraid of. But like I've said like 4 times, but we'll see. Like that's all we can do. All we can do is sit around and wait for like the first trailer to see like how this movie is gonna be and whether or not they decide to cancel this movie in like 2 or 3 months. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.